Welcome to inheritance. This is a big cool topic for second semester. I think you're really gonna like it. It's really conceptual. If you have not seen this thing in a while, it's called a textbook. You should go find it right now. We're gonna use it in class today, well, in video today, but page 575. This video is going to work through section 9.1. There's an example there that really helps, and we're going to keep working with that example in class next time. All right. In this company, this hypothetical company that they've created in your textbook, there are 3 jobs. There are lawyers, there are secretaries, and there are marketers. Clearly there are others, but for this example, we're going to start there. So say you wanted to give each employee some information about the company, right? Sometimes in a lot of it, it's going to be all the same. So different policies that are the same for every kind of job in that company. And some rules are specific just to lawyers, or some rules are specific just to secretaries or marketers. So you could create some kind of employee handbook that's a bazillion pages for lawyers and a bazillion pages for secretaries and another bazillion pages for marketers. And you know that when you create those, you would copy, paste, and then add some extra stuff. But that seems a little bit silly, doesn't it, right? If you had to go change a rule that's company-wide, you'd have to go into the employee handbook for each one of these guys and do a find and replace and try to figure it out. And if this weren't a company with 3 kinds of employees, if there were way more, or say this were a code base that was like 10 years old and like a lot of people had worked on, making sure you changed everything, the one thing in everybody's stuff is kind of tricky. So one way to get around that is to say, hey, let's put all this shared stuff into one place that we can inherit from. And so since all of these guys are employees, you could make an employee class. And the employee class could contain all of the rules for each one of these. Now if you're drawing this out, make sure you save like 4 lines inside of here just so that it works out later. I know it always irritates me when I don't know how big those boxes are supposed to be. Okay, so your employee class could contain like the shared pages of that handout for every single person. And then if you wanted to add lawyers to it, or secretaries or marketers, you could have like 2 pages for this and 2 pages for this and another page for them, right? And all of your information would be passed along. All right, so we would call this an inheritance hierarchy. And this only works if you have what's called an is-a relationship. An is-a relationship. As in, a lawyer is an employee, a secretary is an employee. And say you wanted to add like a new kind of secretary, right? In an is-a relationship, you would say, hey, we've got one down here. This one's called a legal secretary. A legal secretary is a secretary. So now it's kind of like with methods, how you know you're going to use the same code over and over again, so you put it in one place and you can just call it over and over. Well, this has sort of done that with classes. So you can put the code for employees up here, and then lawyers can go get some of their code from there, and secretaries can get some of theirs, and marketers can get some of theirs, and legal secretaries on down. So one of the words I want you to be hearing is a relationship, okay? So make sure you understand that. So a legal secretary is a secretary. Okay, also, this is definitely the superclass. It is the superclass of the classes that come below it. And this is a subclass of employee. So you can have superclasses and subclasses. The secretary is actually both. The secretary is the superclass of the legal secretary. The legal secretary is the subclass of the secretary. So you have is a relationship, superclass, subclass. There are going to be a couple more vocab words, so if you want to keep a list for yourself, you can do that. All right, now we should add some code, right? So grab page 577 in your textbook, and we're gonna go through that. We're gonna focus on the list, bullet pointed list of behaviors and things that employees can do on page 577. So we're gonna try to make methods for each one. And I'm not gonna really write the code for each method, I'm just gonna write the name of the method in each box for who gets what. So remember, the idea is that employees get a list of things that they can do, and everybody else just gets the extra little stuff. So instead of having to give everybody every copy of every method, you load up the employee and then they inherit it. Okay, so here's where we put stuff in. First bullet point says, employees work 40 hours a week. So we could have a get hours method, get hours, and this would return 40. Okay, no big deal. All employees earn a salary of $40,000 a year. They clearly do not live in the Bay Area. So we're gonna have a get salary method, and the salary that's coming back is gonna be $40,000. Okay. All right. Now, some of these guys have other rules for how much they make. So it says, well, we're going to come back to that, okay? I'm going to do everything for all employees, and then we'll sort of back off and give them their special pieces. Okay, employees have 2 weeks of paid vacation leave per year. Okay, so let's have a get vacation days method. Get vacation days. And that's going to be 2 weeks, so 10 days, right? 2 weeks, 10 business days. All right, and then we're down to employees use a yellow form to apply for vacation leave. So get vacation, oh, I'm not writing that out. Get vacation form, all right? And that form is going to be yellow. So it's going to return the word yellow. And you'll see at the bottom of page 577 and 578 sample code for what that class would look like. Okay, the employee class, super simple. This is just a fun, silly example. So there's like one line of code in each one. All right. So now we're going to go back and add in the other things that people can do. So if you are let's say if you are a secretary, you can do some other stuff. So if you're a secretary, you can take dictation. That's something you can do. If you're a secretary, you can take dictation. So what we say actually is that a secretary doesn't need all of the code for this in here. A secretary is an extension of an employee. So all of the actual code for these methods lives in the employee class. And at the top where you write public class secretary, you add the words extends employee. And as soon as you do that, if you have an object that's defined to be a secretary, if you ask it to get vacation days, it'll check to see, hey, are there vacation days in here? No? Well, this is just an extension. I'll hop up here and see if I can get it from there. So you don't end up having to have copies of everything that's here down here. You don't copy it. You just leave all of them up in the superclass, and the subclass says, hey, I'm an extension of employee, and so when it needs its code for something that's not listed here, Java knows to go check the superclass and say, oh, is that method up there? Okay, so we're going to add a few more. Things that lawyers can do. In addition to this, they can sue people. Hooray! They have that power. All right, I filled in a couple more. A marketer can advertise, and a legal secretary can file legal briefs. Now, when you create the legal secretary class, if you want it to exist here in the hierarchy, then you want to say public class legal secretary extends what? So if you say extends employee, it puts it up on this level, right? But legal secretaries want to also, they can also take dictation, right? And legal secretaries not only want to take dictation, they also want to get vacation forms, get salaries, whatever. So they are going to extend secretaries. It extends a secretary. So again, remember we have the is-a relationship. A legal secretary is a secretary, and a secretary knows how to take dictation. That's one of the skills. So these guys have an extra file legal briefs, but they can also take dictation and they can also do these things. All right, so to our list of vocab for today, we have extends. So again, we have a superclass is above a subclass, and this is the superclass for this one, for this subclass. All right, superclass, subclass, you want a legal secretary is a secretary is an employee. That's how you set up hierarchies. So, now there's another piece we need to add. And that piece is stuff that, is different for one of the characters. So, say a lawyer, right? Their vacation days, if we go back to page 577, well, maybe we should start with the salaries, okay? All employees earn a salary of $40,000 a year, with the exception of marketers, who make $50,000 per year. So let's go over here, and we're going to do one more thing. If you call get salary for a marketer, right, it would go, it doesn't have get salary here, so it would go up here, because it gets, a marketer, remember, extends employee. So we'd go find get salary and use this, but this one returns 40,000. It doesn't want that. So we're going to make a new get salary method here. And this method is going to do, it's going to override, okay? It's called overriding. It's going to override the method that's above it in its parent class. So this get salary is going to return $50,000. This guy gets 50K, all right? So there are a few other ones throughout here. So I'd like you to take a minute, you can pause, and from this list that you have, add in the methods in a different color. Use a different color, all right, for your notes. In a different color, write in the ones that are overriding the employee's methods, all right? Take a minute. Hopefully yours looks something like this. Hopefully you've got two more in lawyer, get vacation days and get vacation form, overriding those methods from employee. Hopefully marketer has a get salary, hopefully legal secretary has a get salary, right? So you should have those 4 extra methods added in. So methods that override employees' stuff. All right, make sure that you've got a picture of this for yourself, and I need you to have that all written down in at least 2 colors, and I'd like you to turn that in. So turn that one in, and we will work off of this for class next time. Okay? Have a good time, guys.